Hello everyone, I am Dr. Soumya Das. So, let students continue our skeletal system lecture with very important topic which is nothing but the bones of our vertebral column. So, you know about the vertebral column which is nothing but the spinal cord, and it is very much required for all the mammals. Okay. So, as we are coming under the category of mammals, so it is very important to go to know about the vertebral column in deep. So, today's topic is the bones of vertebral column, thoracic cage and their functions. Okay. So, let us start. Now, we have gone the division of skeletal system in detail earlier also. Again, in short, we will revise little bit by including the new vertebral column, or we can say the spinal cord bones. So, you know we have axial and appendicular system, in which we have different number of bones, and these all axial and appendicular system is joined together by a vertebral column. Okay. So, it is very important for our body posture, for sitting, for lying, for other functions also. So, the vertebral column is also known as simply the spine or the spinal cord or the backbone of human body. It is composed of a series of bones. We will see different bones and their categories, or we can say the classification in later few slides, and these are simply called as the vertebrae. Okay. Vertebra is the singular. If we are talking about all different bones which are located at certain point of time, or the sequence is known as the vertebrae. Vertebrae is the plural of vertebra. Okay. So, singular is vertebra, plural is the vertebrae, and we have one spinal cord which is the vertebral column. So, in adult male it is completely about 71 centimeter of length, and when we are talking about a complete adult female, it comprises of about approximately 61 centimeters in length. So, total number of vertebrae means different bones which are present at certain gap is the in the vertebral column is the total number of vertebrae. If we compared with the adult in the newborn or the childhood, during the early development it is 33 in number. So, as a child grow or in later stage of life, several vertebrae in the sacral and the coccygeal region get fused. So, you have to remember these two regions, students. One is the sacral and the second one is the coccygeal region will ultimately form the coccyx area. Okay. So, here also few bones will fuse, that is why we have different number of bones in the newborn and the adults also. So, here in the spinal cavity we are focusing on this vertebral column in our today's lecture. So, adults have complete 26 vertebrae, okay, while children or child is having 33 vertebrae in their vertebral column. So, you have to remember the sacrum and the coccyx bones, which is more in children, that is why they have 33 numbers of bone in the vertebral column, which is later on get fused to become 26 number in the adults. So, this is very good picture. Again we have same as the skeletal system, the anterior view, okay, as well as the posterior view. So, see this diagram, student. This is the complete vertebral column or the spinal cord. In the upper area or the apex of the vertebral column, we have C1 and C2, which is nothing but considered as atlas and axis, or the first initial two structure of the spinal cord, beginning of the spinal cord in the, you will see in the anterior as well as the lateral and the posterior view. So, we have the complete spinal cord is divided into three major areas. The first one is the cervical vertebrae, which is numbering C1 to C7. C means cervical. The second is starting off up at the ending of C7, we have thoracic cavity or the thoracic vertebrae, which is T1 to T12. T stands for thoracic here, and at the ending of T12 we have the lumbar vertebrae. So, its number is L1 to 5. After ending L5 we have the sacrum area with different bones S1 to S5, and at the end you will see there is one coccyx. Okay, students. So, remember, you have to remember what? In the cervical we have C1 to C7 number of bones, thoracic region comprises of T1 to T12, in the lumbar we have L1 to L5, then sacrum S1 to S5, then we have at the end the coccyx area. Okay, or at the beginning the C1 is C2, which is very important and regularly asked in interviews in the viva portion also, which is the atlas. C1 is termed as atlas and C2 is the axis of the spinal cord, which is nothing but the beginning of vertebral column or the spinal cord. So, see this part, the vertebrae are numbering as follow. So, complete in the cervical region we have 7 cervical vertebrae C1 to C7. After that we have 12 thoracic vertebrae T1 to T12. Then just after ending the thoracic we have lumbar vertebrae, which is again 5 in number, L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5 like that. Then after lumbar vertebrae we have one fused sacrum. In the child we have 5 in different bones, which is later on in the adult fused to form one sacrum. Again in the coccyx there are 4 different bones in the child, these 4 are fused together to form one coccyx. So, you have to remember these. In the adults, when you ask a question like how many bones are there in the adults or in the child, you have to keep in mind that in adult we have one sacrum where the S1 to S5 bones get fused to form one sacrum, and also in the coccyx we have 4 bones in the child, but in adult these all bones coccygeal region will fuse to form one single structure, bony structure, which is nothing but the coccyx, which is located at the end of the vertebral column. Okay, students. So, the sacrum and the coccyx do not have any number in adults. So, remember this always, one sacrum, one coccyx in adults only, while it is different in the children, which is 5 sacrum and 4 coccyx in children. Okay. So, by region from top, when we are telling about top, which is the superior starting of the vertebral column to the bottom or the ending of the vertebral column, the top is known as the superior and bottom is known as the inferior side. C1 articulates with the skull, okay, because you know after ending the skull area we have one brain stem which connects the spinal cord. That is why when we are talking the body nervous system, CNS, PNS, ANS, like central nervous system, autonomic nervous system, central nervous system only comprises of these two main body organs, which is the brain and the spinal cord. So, you know the C1, which is the atlas of the vertebral column, it gets articulates mean it will join with the skull, and L5, which is the lumbar 5 will join or articulate with the sacrum structure. Okay. So, these are various reasons or the numbers in the vertebral column. Now, coming to the types of vertebrae. So, a typical vertebrae when we are talking about it is consist of basically 3 main structures, which is its complete body. You will see this is its complete body. Then a vertebral arc, which is also known as the pedicels or the lamina. So, pedicels and the lamina, you will see the supporting of these projecting areas. These are the pedicels and these are the laminas. Okay. So, these pedicels and laminas collectively known as the vertebral arc. You will see here it is written the vertebral arc. Okay. Then after that we have 7 different processes in a vertebrae. What are these? Which 7 different processes means? 2 transfer process, 1 spinous process and 4 articular process. You will see here. When we are talking about a single vertebrae, the different nomenclature or the label like that. Transfer process, you will see this protruded area. This joining area is the laminae, again this is the laminae. Then this center area is the posterior view, anterior view. Okay. This is the spinous process, one is transfer process, spinous process, superior articular process located inside in the center of the bony structure of the vertebrae. And then this is collectively these two ring like or these areas are known as the vertebral arc. And what is this? The vertebral arc is joining or compilation of pedicels and the lamina. And what is pedicel? You will see here, these are pedicels, these are pedicels. Okay. Then you will see a whole like void area in the center, which is the vertebral foramen, and this is nothing but the body, or we can say the shaft, complete body of the vertebral column or the vertebrae, which is also sometimes known as the centrum of the vertebrae. So, we have 3 different areas: body, vertebral arch, and the 7 process, which is the 2 transfer process, 1 spinous and 4 articular process in a single vertebrae. Okay. So, vertebrae may also be classified as 2 types, one is movable, same as joints, one is immovable vertebrae, movable vertebrae and immovable. For example, movable, the cervical column, the thoracic cage and the lumbar vertebrae are the examples of movable type of vertebrae, while the immovable vertebrae is the sacrum and the coccyx, the end of the spinal cord which covers this pectoral or the pelvis area. Okay. So, these are immovable vertebrae and the sacrum and the coccyx. Between the adjacent vertebrae from the second cervical vertebrae C2 up to the sacrum, that is starting of the S1 to S5, which is fused later on in the adult and become one sacrum and one coccyx. So, we are talking about just from the ending of the C2 cervical 2 to the S1, we can say single sacrum, there is a large number of intervertebral disc, or intervertebral means in between. There are some gaps in each vertebral column. Okay. So, you will see here the C1 to C7, then a thoracic T1 to T12 and lumbar L1 to L5. Let us go in detail little bit. The cervical vertebrae, which is the C1 to C7, we have this A diagram is cervical, thoracic and lumbar L1 to L5. So, starting with the cervical vertebrae, these vertebrae formed the framework of the neck. It will start from the neck region and it will provide complete support or the protection to the skull. Okay. And it is small in number because we have just C1, C2 is Atlas and axis, then we have up to C7 cervical vertebrae and they presents the presence of foramen in each transfer process is fixed in all C1 to C7. So, coming to its structure, students, you will see this is single vertebrae of C1 to C7. We have vertebral foramen, this is the area considered as vertebral foramen, and this protruded area on both right and left side we have the transversum for vertebral artery. Okay. From there only this vertebral column get supply of blood through this artery. Okay. So, the right hand side you will see this is considered as the transfer process, and just above we have a lamina and superior articular facet. So, lamina structure you know, this is the spinous process you see in the previous slide also. In both sides this spinous process is protruded or elongated through the help of lamina. Okay. That is why it is written the presence of foramen in each transfer process will provide its complete structure to form C1 cervical vertebrae C1 to C7. Now, coming to the thoracic vertebrae, which is 12 in numbering, which is T1 to T12, it formed the posterior part of the thoracic cage, okay, the back side of our body. posterior end, and it articulates with the associated ribs. So, you know we have a complete diaphragm which protect ultimately the vital organ lungs as well as heart. So, we have a complete diaphragm, or which is comprises of 12 pairs of ribs, we will see later on. So, but at the back side we have the T1 to T12 thoracic vertebrae. You will see the diagram, more or less these are similar, but few side it is different. Like again we have the spinous process in the T1 to T12 each vertebrae. We have lamina which is same to the cervical. You will see here, this is little bit different. These two facet which is known as the costal facets are different from the cervical vertebrae. Again beneath the costal facet we have the transfer process. Transfer process is there in the cervical vertebrae also, and the costal facets you will see, but it is not protruded at the body area of the thoracic vertebrae. And then we have pedicel, and this is the complete body, and we have the common vertebral foramen in the thoracic T1 to T12 different vertebrae. So, they formed ultimately the posterior part of the thoracic cage which articulate or joints with their associated ribs. Okay. And at the end we have the third lumbar vertebrae which is L1 to L5, total 5 in numbers, and these formed complete skeletal support from the posterior side, and it will also prevent or protect the abdominal wall which contain the all digestive organs, stomach, okay, the various organs and the void hollow space support the posterior abdominal wall, and they are characterized by a large number of size. So, lumbar vertebrae, remember from lumbar it is large as compared to the thoracic and the cervical. So, its size little bit bigger, and this is lumbar. So, vertebral foramen is common, you will see here, this is the lower end is the body of this lumbar vertebrae. Again this is the protruding area which is nothing but the spinous process which is protruding both side, which is known as the laminae, and you will see here also same as thoracic cavity, okay, thoracic vertebrae. We have superior articular facets, these two black circular diagrams, superior articular facets, and these two branches right and left side is the transfer process of the lumbar vertebrae. Okay. So, this is all about the different vertebrae. Then we have one sacrum and coccyx in adults. Sacrum vertebrae, it is the fusion of 5 S1 to S5, 5 different sacral bones which fused at the early of 16 to 18 years of teenager, okay, up to it will vary from individual to individual. Most probably it will fused up to a child reach to the 16 years of age, and sometimes in up to 18 years, and it will complete at 30 years, means when a child or the teenager is considered to be a adult. Okay. So, the S1 to S5 get fused and they form one sacrum, same as in the coccyx area also, students. So, you have to remember these two parts, okay. One is sacrum in the vertebral column and second is the coccyx. So, the articulates with the L5 which is the lumbar 5, and it is known as the lumbosacral joint, okay, because L5 is the ending of lumbar vertebral column and there is the beginning of S1, or we can say the single sacrum in adult. So, it is known as lumbosacral joint. Joint means there is an articulation link between these two bony areas, and they form the posterior wall of the lower abdominal as well as the pelvic cavity. Now, coming to the coccyx, after sacrum you know we have one 4 bones are fused here in adults and they make one single structure which is the coccyx. So, fusion of 4 coccyx bone, and it is exactly the immovable, okay. These joints and bones are not in a condition to move, and the immovable joints are known as, students, synostosis, okay, synostosis, and they formed the important part of the pelvic cavity. Now, see the structure. This is the complete structure of sacrum and the coccyx area. Here the 4 bones fuse to form one coccyx, and in adult, okay, and also S1 to S5 will fuse to form one sacrum. So, when we are talking about its structure, you will see superior articular surface, these two protruded area is the articular surface, and we have 4 void or hole structures, which is nothing but the sacral foramina, and this is the complete sacrum structure, and in between these two areas, this is again the transfer process. Okay. So, this is one sacrum which is fixed or fused with the coccyx. Okay. So, this is its complete structure. Now, coming to the very important part of vertebral or the spinal cord, the functions. Okay. So, the vertebral canal or the vertebral cord, we can say, spinal cord we can say, or spine simply we can say, the vertebral column provides a strong bony protection for the delicate spinal cord. Okay. Cord is thread like structure which maintain our posture. It helps in walking, sitting in different position, maintaining. Okay. So, we need a healthy or correct balanced vertebral column inside our body. So, it provides a strong bony protection for the delicate spinal cord. The vertebral disc, in between interdisc are there. So, the intervertebral disc act like a shock absorber. Okay. These intervertebral disc or spaces provide or protect us or protect the spinal cord, delicate spinal cord structure to resist in emergencies we can say, or it act as a shock absorber, and it enables various different type of movements through the help of this vertebral column. The vertebral column protects support to the body. This is the prime function of the vertebral column, and it provides the access of the trunk. So, I hope you know about the trunk. We have this area, the complete body area is considered as trunk. We have upper limb, forelimb, okay, axial, skeletal system, and the complete body is considered as the trunk area. So, it forms the axis of the trunk, and it provide attachment to the ribs, which is nothing. We have 12 pairs of ribs in the diaphragm area. Then we have the pelvic girdle and the shoulder girdle. Okay. Limbs, forelimbs, hind limbs, as well as it will provide protection and support for other muscles. What are the other muscles? We will see in our next few slides, in next PPT maybe. We have when we are talking about the diaphragm or the location of ribs, which prevent ultimately our vital important organs like heart and lungs. These are deltoid muscles, then tuberculoid muscles. Okay. These provide attachment with the ribs, okay, so that they can join easily. Somewhere we have the connective tissues muscles. Okay. So, these muscles, these are smooth muscles. Somewhere in the chest area we have some skeletal muscles which ultimately provide the support, okay, and to the other bony structure which is supported by the presence of these muscles. So, ultimately the vertebral column or the vertebrae or the presence of intervertebral disc, they provide the support, they maintain the human body structure, okay, straight or the correct posture axis of the trunk, and it will help in the attachment of different pairs of ribs which ultimately forms the diaphragm. It will provide support to the pelvic girdle, pectoral girdle, pelvic is the shoulder girdle, pelvic girdle, then we have pectoral girdle in the pubis area. It provides supports to the limbs, hind as well as forelimbs, and also support of the muscles at the back. Now, coming to the thoracic cage. the diaphragm. So, this is the jugular, starting we have jugular notch. Apart from this, below this area we have the clavicular notch, and then this is very important area which is manubrium, and just below this we have this longitudinal area which is the xiphosternal joint, and collectively these areas are known as the sternum. This is all sternum, which is composed of manubrium, body, xiphosternal joint, xiphoid process, and you will see here 1 to 7 is considered as true ribs, 8 to 12 next we have 12 pairs of ribs, and 8 to 12 is considered as false ribs. Why? The 11 and 12 is known as floating ribs, because we have only one side its location, okay. Half we can say this rib is anterior is present, posterior it is absent. So, it is little bit float. So, 11 number and 12 these is considered as the floating ribs. Then we have intercostal spaces, the space between each 12 pairs of ribs, and this is the blue area is the costal cartilage, this and this is the costal margin, okay students. So, in between this white area you will see these are the presence of muscles, okay, which ultimately provide support for these 12 pairs of ribs to join, to fix to their places, okay, during any we can say the external injury or any shock like condition. So, these muscles are very much important and useful for the protection of these ribs. So, typical ribs or true ribs from 2 to 7, which is present in the head, neck, tubercle, angle, shaft and the subcostal groove. Then another is the atypical ribs, which is number 1 and up 8 to 10. Then 8 to 10, 8, 9, 10, rib 1 is very short, flat in structure, and it support the subclavian vessels, while the ribs 1, 10, 11, 12 they articulate with only one vertebrae, okay. And when we are talking about rib 11 and 12, these are considered as the floating ribs. They do not articulate with any other bone or structure, and they are considered as the transfer process of the vertebrae and considered as the transfer process of the sternum. It will provide the support, or it is float exactly. Then typical ribs 1 to 7 pairs of ribs, which is attached anterior to the sternum by their costal cartilage. Then we have atypical ribs, which is 8th, 9th and 10th. These are attached anterior, and the 7th rib, which means of their costal cartilage, and it is the 7th rib is very small, joint with the synovial fluid or the synovial joint. Then you know we have at the end 11th and 12th are the floating ribs. Then sternum is having 3 main parts. You see in the previous slide the manubrium, the superior end of the sternum, the wider and the main portion of the bone. Then we have the central thin body portion, which provide articulation between rib 2 to 7, and the third one is the xiphoid process, and which means it will provide support to the cartilage, and it does not ossify into a bone like structure until an individual is about 40 years of age. Now, coming to the last functions of ribs. Ribs you know protect the internal organs, heart, lung, trachea, kidney, blood vessels. It play important role in the respiratory mechanism, and it will also provide support to the intercostal muscles when it contract during inspiration and expiration, so that ribs will become contracted and expanded, okay. So, the important is the first rib, which increase the surface area for the inspiration. So, this is all about today's lecture. See you in next lecture. Bye bye.